Hello everybody, KDY here, and today we're going to be looking at the newest addition to the League of Legends family. His name is Kayn, the Shadow Reaper, and let me tell you, this guy is a beast. He is annoying, he looks intimidating, he's scary. I don't want to fight this guy, but I definitely want to play him. This is his background story. Besides, here's a really cool picture of him. I'm going to zoom in real quick. There we go. So we can read the words a little bit for those viewing. And here is his little bio. Kayn, the Shadow Reaper. A peerless practitioner of lethal shadow magic. Shida Kayn battles to achieve his true destiny, to one day lead the Order of the Shadow into a new era of Ionian supremacy. He audaciously wields the sentient darkened weapon Rost, undeterred by its creeping corruption of his body and mind. There are only two possible outcomes. Either Kayn bends the weapon to his will, or the malevolent scythe, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, consumes him completely, paving the way for the destruction of all Runeterra. So he seems to be fighting with this weapon, and this weapon is called Ross, and he is called Kayn. And so these two are probably going to have some secret interactions in the game, and that will be interesting to see. Oh, excuse me there. That will be definitely interesting to see once you play the game with these two different beings trying to go at it to consume each other. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at his abilities. His first ability is the Darkened Scythe. Kayn wields an ancient weapon and fights the Darkened with it. Ross for control. I should say that. Khan wields an ancient weapon and fights the Darkened within it. Ross for control. During each game, one will consume the other. Kayn hones his shadow skills by hunting ranged opponents, while Ross fuels his bloodlust by going toe-to-toe with melee champions. If Kayn wins the struggle, he ascends to become the Shadow Assassin. If Ross is the victor, the Darkened consumes his host and takes center stage. P.S. If he's the Shadow Assassin, he will deal bonus magic damage during the first few seconds of combat with champions. However, if he's the Darken, he'll heal for a chunk of all spell damage dealt to champions. So pretty much what it is, if he, I don't know if it's also including that allies can kill him, but if he kills a ranged champion, he can become the Shadow Assassin that he always wants to be. However, if he kills a melee champion, it absorbs or takes that essence or whatever. I'm going to assume it's an essence that he picks up. Ross will begin to take over and he will become the Darken. Let's go ahead and take a look. So as you can see, he absorbed the essence that Ash had and was able to become the Shadow Assassin that he always wished to be. As we can see, he's dealing bonus damage. If he kills a ranged, or sorry, not ranged, a melee champion, he absorbs that essence. Becomes the Darken. Now that's some cool animation. He's healing when he is attacking, so he gains pretty much some lifesteal with that, and that will be annoying if someone chooses the Darken side. Join the Darken side. He is way stronger so far. However, the Shadow Assassin will have his perks. That is the passive. Let us move on to the Q, which is called Reaping Slash. Kayn dashes forward, striking nearby enemies at the end of the dash. Both the dash and the strike itself deal physical damage. Reaping Slash deals bonus damage to monsters. However, if he is Darken, this ability deals bonus percent health damage against all enemies except minions. So pretty much if he becomes the Darken and he uses this, they will not take any bonus damage. Only other sorry, not other minions. Blah, 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 only other champions, or I'm going to assume large monsters. Anyway, let's take a look. So as we can see, when he used his Q as the Darken, he was able to do a little bit more damage. When he was normal, again, he was able to do a certain amount of damage with his strikes. And he will that will definitely be a factor in his play style, because that will give the Darken a little bit bonus of power in game. Alright, let's look at the next ability, which is his W, which is called Blade's Reach, which this does which deals damage in a line that significantly slows all enemies hit. Now I've already taken a look at all this and I've seen what is cool. I'm just doing a little video for this. His W is pretty much he strikes down and he slows enemies that are hit, including minions. However, if he is the Shadow Assassin, he leaves behind a living shadow, kind of like Zed with his W and his Q combo. He places a living shadow of himself and it casts it. However, it also gets increased range. And now that is the perk for becoming the Shadow Assassin. However, if he is the Darken, the Blade's Reach briefly knocks up struck enemies. Now that will be nice for definitely getting another knockup in there. Let's take a look. That was pretty nuts with this new guy. So with Kane, I should say. So again, if he's the Darken, it knocks him up. If he's the Shadow Assassin, it has increased range and he has a shadow that does it. And then pretty much this guy is more or less a jungler, as you can see in the first when we looked at his passive. You can see if you look closely, he's got Smite. So he's most likely going to be stronger in the jungle. And that is nice. And that will, speaking of the jungle, that will get us to his next ability called Shadow Step. This ability is nuts. Kane gains a burst of movement speed and the ability to walk through walls for a few moments. So pretty much for a few seconds, he has the ability to walk through walls and he gains bonus movement speed. That is nuts. That means that he could very, very easily, 1, get away from a fight, 2, he can surprise the enemy jungler and take his camps a lot easier and get out unscathed. That is nuts. If he's the Shadow Assassin, he gains additional movement speed and immunity to slows when attacking Shadow Step. I did notice that in some of the videos using this with his tips and tricks, if he uses this, he can still take damage. Do not think that he won't, because he will still take damage no matter where he is. If he's in the walls, you can still deal damage if he tries to run away. Let's take a look. See, that is something that is going to annoy a lot of junglers. So he is definitely going to be an interesting pick and definitely prominent ban. Alright, and this is his final ability. His ult called Umbral Trespass. Kane may infest any nearby enemy champion who he has recently damaged. So, if he has recently damaged another champion, he can go inside and infest them. Trespassing into a champion makes Kane untargetable for a few seconds, so it's pretty much invincible if he goes inside them. Reactivating the ability during this period ends the effect early. Kane then wrenches himself free of his victim's body, dealing a burst of damage. So what he does is he rushes inside them, he is untargetable, and he can choose where he wants to wrench himself free and deal damage based on who he is. However, if he is the Shadow Assassin, the Umbral Trespass can be cast from further away and resets the bonus magic damage the Darkened Scythe after Kane's exits the victim. So he'll deal more damage if he's the Shadow Assassin. However, if he is the Darkened, he deals extra damage as a percentage of the victim's maximum health and heals the dart and healing himself in the process. Now, also, if he's the Darkened and he uses this, it is nuts. Why? Because he can heal himself for a lot of health. Let's check it out. As you can see, this is him when he uses it as his regular spell. He gets himself stuck inside and deals damage and dashes out. This is him as the Shadow Assassin. He'll be able to do it from further away. He get a little bit more damage. But when he starts, a lot more damage and to heal for a lot of health. If you notice, when he was the Darkin, he had about 3/4 of his health gone. He restored almost all of that with one ult. That is nuts. All right, let's go to the next section, which is playing as Kayn. And this is just a little quote. I am the weapon, you are the tool, Kayn. All right, let's take a look. Kayn is a slippery, insatiable nightmare who uses his victims' bodies as a recreational vehicle. The Shadow Reaper's ult is horrifying enough, but even scarier is his tendency to emerge suddenly from any wall in the rift. That is definitely going to annoy junglers for eternity because he can take all your camps. Kayn is a strong champion in the jungle, very strong. Kayn's the only champion in League who can change his class in the middle of the game. So pretty much he'll stay normal, but he can either become the Shadow Assassin or the Darken in the middle of the game, so you won't know which one he chooses based on your team comp because they're mostly range. He'll probably become the Shadow Assassin. It's mostly melee. Well, guess what? He's going to become the Darken. Now that will be nice for those so they can go a little bit till the mid game and judge on that to see who the transformed to either become the Shadow Assassin or to become the Darken. Also, if the other team's squishier champs are carrying, he can focus attacking ranged opponents to become the Shadow Assassin. If Kayn's team needs a tankier front line, Ross is the Darken for the job. Let's take a look. As you can see, he's the Darken. Here's the pop in the Ezreal. He decides to pop in, however, Ezreal gets away. He's able to take a lot of damage from both champions, however, Ezreal's just not strong enough. And man, there's a goal. There's a fight. However, she's the Shadow Assassin. He was able to follow Rakan and just absolutely destroy. Just absolutely just pull him out. They can just go back from behind. Look, there's Xerath. Guess what, Xerath? You are dead. Thanks for coming. That is definitely going to be nice if you're just going in for a team fight. You can just follow up through the wall, bam. And guess what? This guy you probably don't need to take flash on, this depending on the cooldown of his E, because if it's like a 20-second cooldown, which I assume it's probably going to be about 20 seconds, if it's less than like 5 seconds, I'm going to be shocked. But he can absolutely run away. He can just get away and then engage like crazy. Again, there's a quote, I am the weapon, you are the tool, Kayn. Tips and tricks. Kayn and Ross are hungry boys. You've got to feed them by ganking lanes and dealing damage to champs. Taking too long to transform means you'll fall behind in the mid game. This champion is all about transforming. You can either become the Shadow Assassin or the Darken. However, if you take too long, the enemy team can just absolutely jump on you, and you won't be able to do a thing about it. Next thing. Kayn's two evolved forms have their own unique trade-offs. The Darken has telegraph crowd control and limited access to enemy backlines. The Shadow Assassin has very limited sustained damage and no hard crowd control. Peep their team comp, then choose wisely. So pretty much you have to wait till the mid game in order to figure out what you need to go in, because you can either go for just absolute more damage or you can just go completely berserk. It is up to you. You have to determine on your own. You can't just like suggest. You can let your team help you out and say like, okay, we kind of need more of a tank, or you can say, hey, we need some a little. Actually, we need some more. We need some more engaged power. We need some more power here, and you will choose from that. Last and final point. Umbral Trespass has a very few interesting interactions with other mobile champs. See an enemy Shen ulting to bot lane, you get close enough to trespass aboard the ninja train and enjoy the ride. Pretty much what this is saying, if you are facing a Shen and he is TPing to the bot lane to help his team, but guess what? You need to follow up, ult the Shen, and just watch what happens. You'll jump right on him, and he will TP to the bot lane. Guess what? You'll be there too, because you ulted on him. That'll be nuts. If there's an enemy Twisted Fate that Kayn sees, and he's trying to TP to his team, and they're all like less than half health, but he's trying to get there to be safe, guess what? Ult the Twisted Fate, and guess what? You got yourself a couple kills if he follows up. Now that is nuts with Kayn. And here's a quote from Ross. This is a Kayn, this is Ross, this is his weapon. Lies soothe the mind, don't they? Yes, they do. And here's a final picture. There's sadly no extras. It's just a really cool looking picture. It looks awesome on him. Anyway, this is just a little video just to say, hey, this champion is coming out soon. He is a beast. Be wary of this guy when he finally comes out to the actual League of Legends. And anyway, he will be a scourge to the League of Legends, to Summoner's Rift, to all of Runeterra. This guy is a beast. Kane, the Shadow Reaper, coming soon to League of Legends. Sounds like a movie thing. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in another video. Bye-bye.